The morning drifted over the camp like held breath. The slopes of Sinai glowed amber, and the air trembled with waiting. Teruah knelt beside a bundle of linen, tying the last cord that would hold her family's tent for travel. She had dreamed of this day and dreaded it. The mountain behind her was the only home she had ever known. It had burned with God's fire, and she had grown up beneath its shadow. Then came the sound, two bright notes of silver, pure and fierce, slicing through the dawn. The trumpets echoed off the rock and rolled across the desert. Teruah froze. Children ran to their parents, soldiers lifted banners, priests turned their faces toward the tabernacle. The cloud above it began to tremble and rise. Her heart pounded. This was no random noise. This was the voice of command. The same God who once shook the mountain was now calling them to move. Dust began to rise as the camp stirred, an ocean of motion. Teruah whispered to her younger brother, quote, "That's the sound of promise." He looked at her eyes wide. "It sounds like leaving," she smiled. "It always does." Welcome to Whole Bible Study with your host, me, Inoue. We now turn to Numbers chapter 10, the moment the stillness of Sinai breaks. For nearly a year, the Israelites have camped at the mountain of revelation, receiving the law, building the tabernacle, and learning how to live in holiness and order. But faith that stays still too long forgets how to follow. God now commands movement, and before the people take a single step, he teaches them how to listen. Two silver trumpets become the sound of his presence in motion. The Lord tells Moses, quote, "Make two trumpets of hammered silver and use them to call the community together and for directing the camps to set out," unquote. The Hebrew word for silver, kesef, also means longing or desire. Even the material speaks of yearning. The command to hammer both from a single piece implies unity, two voices formed from one substance. When both trumpets sounded, the entire assembly gathered. When only one was blown, the tribal leaders came. Distinct signals create order within the chaos of a million souls. The trumpets were language before words, theology before speech. Only the priests, the sons of Aaron, could blow them. Their breath sanctified the sound. Each blast marked not human initiative, but divine permission. The people moved only when heaven exhaled through silver. These were specific calls. The teqiah, a long, steady tone, summoned the people. The teruah, a series of short, sharp blasts, signaled alarm or departure. These same sound patterns would rather echo through the shofar at Rosh Hashanah, when Israel remembers the sovereignty of God. The sound that once moved tents would one day awaken hearts. The trumpets were also used in battle. Quote, "When you go to battle and sound the blast, you will be remembered before the Lord your God," unquote. They were not instruments of magic, but of memory. Their cry declared, quote, "We remember you, remember us," unquote. In the ancient world, kings carried banners into war. Israel carried sound, and the same silver instruments marked days of peace and celebration. At your times of rejoicing, at your festivals and new moons, you shall sound the trumpets over your offerings," unquote. The same breath that gathered armies also sanctified feast days. In every note, the people learned that life with God has one rhythm: worship. Rabbinic teachers saw in this command of theology a balance. The Sefer Bamidbar teaches that Israel's life moves between assembly and journey. between celebration and struggle, and the same sacred sound joins them. The Mishnah ladder describes silver trumpets in the temple surrounded alongside the shofar, two voices, priest and prophet, answering one another. Jacob Milgrom called them symbols of divine immediacy, heaven organizing earth through sound. Archaeology adds further context. Silver trumpets nearly identical to the biblical description were found in the tomb of Tutankhamun, thin, bright, and able to project notes across great distance. Israel would have known such instruments from Egypt. Yet here the sound is redeemed, not a royal fanfare for Pharaoh, but the call of the King of Heaven. In verse 11, the cloud lifts. Israel moves for the first time since coming out of Egypt. Judah marches first, followed by each tribe in perfect sequence. The passage reads like choreography. Each step has meaning. The same God who once ordered the stars now orders human feet. Even Moses' conversation with Hobab, his Midianite kinsman, reflects this divine rhythm. Moses says, quote, "Come with us to be our eyes," unquote. The cloud leads, but counsel matters. Faith does not cancel wisdom. It purifies it. Whenever the ark sets out, Moses prayed, quote, "Rise up, Lord, make your enemies be scattered," unquote. And when it came to rest, he said, quote, "Return, Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel," unquote. These two prayers are still used in Jewish liturgy. They express the two central movements of faith, going and resting. The sound of the trumpets grows louder through the rest of Scripture. Isaiah says, quote, "Cry aloud, lift up your voice like a trumpet," unquote. Joel commands, quote, blow the trumpet in Zion," unquote. And Paul refers to it when speaking of clarity in teaching. Quote, "If the trumpet gives an uncertain sound, who will prepare for battle," unquote. And again at the resurrection, the trumpet of God will sound and the dead will rise. What once stirred tents will one day awaken the world. Even the material itself carried meaning. Silver, the sages said, reflects light without consuming it. Gold dazzles, but silver serves. In Hebrew poetry, kesef implies longing. The trumpets express God's desire to be heard. Two trumpets, heaven and earth, command and obedience, God and Israel. When both sound together, covenant is complete. Gregory of Nyssa saw in them the Old and New Testaments calling in harmony. Quote, "When both speak," unquote. He wrote, quote, "The soul moves." Richard Rohr describes the trumpet's rhythm as a pattern of spiritual life. One note gathers us into silence, the next sends us into action. Revelation, response, movement. The order of faith. Imagine the scene through Teruah's eyes. The flash of silver catches the sunlight. The priests lift the instruments. All creation pauses. Then the blast cuts through the silence. Sharp, clean, irresistible. The sound gathers every tribe, every generation, every heartbeat into one command. The dust rises, the people follow. To Teruah, it feels like the world is breathing. Historically, the trumpets continued long after Sinai. In Solomon's temple, 120 priests blew them in unison as the glory of God filled the house. Centuries later, Ezra and Nehemiah used them to summon the exiles home. In the Second Temple, priests stood on the eastern steps at dawn, blowing toward the rising sun, the same direction Israel faced when they left Sinai. The sound tied past to present, memory to motion. Theologically, the lesson is both simple and vast. Holiness is not silent. Creation began with a voice. The journey of redemption begins with sound. In Genesis, God spoke light. In Numbers, he sounds movement. Both are acts of ordering chaos into purpose. The Hebrew phrase, al pi Adonai Yisrael, means at the command of the Lord they journeyed. The verb nasa also means to lift. When Israel moves, it is not only travel, it is elevation. The trumpets ensured that movement was communal. Without them, the tribes might scatter. With them, each step kept time with the rest. Faith became symphony. Picture it again, the gleam of the hammered silver, the deep inhale of the priests, and then a piercing note that silences a million conversations. For a heartbeat, all Israel breathes together. That is covenant translated into sound. Numbers 10 ends quickly. The ark moves ahead to find rest. The cloud hovers above the people. Moses prays. They have learned how to turn revelation into rhythm. Divine presence now travels with divine order. Faith without structure drifts. Structure without faith dies. The trumpets join them into one breath. Every soul waits for its trumpet. The quiet promptings that says, it's time. Sometimes it is not a horn, but a whisper, a new opportunity, a conviction that the waiting season has ended. The season of silver trumpets is to listen before acting, to move together, and to trust that God who calls you forward travels with you. Movement becomes holy when it begins in harmony with heaven. Teruah heard that heard that sound once, and the desert changed forever. We still hear it in different ways whenever God invites us to lift what we have built and follow his presence into unknown ground. Well, thank you for joining me again for this deep dive into Numbers chapter 10. Every study and every story shaped here is a part of Mustard Seed Ministries. If this journey speaks to your heart, you can help support the documentaries and podcasts through Patreon. The link is in the description below. If something in this reflection encouraged you, please share it with a friend, or leave a note, or carry its rhythm with you into the week ahead. And we will see you in the next chapter soon.